Right, there it is. You got it now.
Good. Have you had a chance to look at the minutes from October 15th, 2024?
I have a make motion to approve.
Okay, I'll second that since Steve was unable to be here for medical reasons. Okay. And we've got our Chief Deputy Auditor sitting in for us today, so she's going to take over for Tony, who's at conference today. So,
You second those minutes, right?
correct.
Okay. First, we have Allied, the weekly claims in the amount of $63,955.29. Now, let's usually break down medical and RX.
He usually reads it off, yeah.
So medical is $34,855.69, and RX is $29,099.60.
Okay. Very
Read that's
good.
that's 955, right? 955.29?
$955.29.
55, okay, good.
Yeah. Okay, any questions on that? If not, I accept a motion to approve that claim as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Excuse me.
Next is payroll claims for pay period ending 10/11 in the amount of $367,499.17.
Okay, any questions on that? If not, I'd accept a motion to approve that claim as presented.
Moved. Second.
Okay, motion carries.
Next, we have the payroll time card approvals. And that would be for pay period ending 10/11 as well.
Okay, have you had a chance to take a look at those? Okay,
Motion to approve. Second, sorry.
okay, motion carries.
The next thing we have is a legal claim to be approved out of cycle, and it is, Mark, you may have. It's for the FEMA flood mitigation, and it's the county match, correct?
Mhm.
For $2,500.
Okay, and this is for the Yost Woods property, so I think we've discussed that in the past.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. I had to sign that.
No,
We've got attorney.
no, because I bet Mark already signed it.
Yeah.
No, so I guess. Next we have the animal control report, which I handed out to you guys.
You marked that FEMA thing, that's for the Oakwood property. They go down to it. That the county pays that. Paid that much. They're gonna show us up there.
Yep, for local match.
All right,
Second.
all right, motion seconded to enter this report into record.
Who was first?
Steve was.
Steve.
Tony just speaks about it.
You guys really need different names. Okay, then we have weights and measures.
Make a motion to accept the report. This report. Second that motion.
Okay.
Hey, you approved all of it.
Steve made the motion, just let it know.
Okay.
The color? What kind of dog? What breed?
Okay, we are entering that for motion by Steve Coon and second by Steve Bailey.
Okay, Coon, then Bailey, got it. The next thing we have is the holidays for 2025, which is resolution 2024-9. And there was two different presented. The one has, I guess the regular holidays, minus there's no election next year. And then one has during Christmas, Christmas falls on Wednesday, so it has Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
No, I don't have a hard copy.
You want to,
Do you have a hard copy of this?
do you want a copy of
Oh,
both?
wait a minute.
I think that's, I'm not sure which one that is, but.
Thursday.
That's holidays for next year?
This is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for next year.
We've had a lot of people asking for them, so we put them together and I guess whenever Tony's seen that Christmas falls on, or Christmas Eve is Wednesday, Christmas Day is Thursday. He put Friday on one and not on the other, just not knowing how many people would want off on Friday after the holiday.
That's got
Because
this.
what is it
I
this
think
year?
that's
Isn't
the same.
Christmas on Wednesday this year?
Must be.
You don't have a copy of the other one.
I looked again.
Let me see if I can find it.
I just dealt with this in my office.
Christmas, yes, Christmas Eve is on Tuesday this year and Christmas is on Wednesday.
This year.
Oh, oh. I think it'd be my preference that we go ahead and make Friday a regular work day. If people want it off, I guess they can take PTO.
Is it the same number of holidays as normal, since we don't have an election holiday?
So if you do without that Friday, it's 13 holidays. If you do with it, it's 14. Whenever we have election, you get 16.
So we're not adding an extra day
No. So like this year, we have 16 holidays. But
because of the primary and the election,
yes, but next year there is none, so
but we still only have 14 with
yes.
that Friday.
Mhm.
That'd be my motion would be to adopt a schedule that does not include the Friday after Christmas as a paid holiday.
So that would be 13.
It would be 14,
It would
sorry.
be this one here with.
I didn't
minus
count, there's two on
That one.
Thanksgiving.
Now two here.
So it'd be 14
But it
without
would be
it,
this one
15.
minus that day.
Right. Minus December 26th, total of 14.
I'll second Steve's motion.
So 14 holidays. So I don't have a copy of
Yeah, I
that
don't
new
either.
schedule either.
Without it,
Yeah, I don't have a copy.
this one here is without it. So that would be the one you need to sign. I'm sorry, Steve Bailey was first, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I will vote in favor of that. motion also.
We'll get a copy later of that, yeah.
When we have, there is a contractual agreement between Purdue University and the county for their, it looks like for their computers and, so the contractual services for appropriation of $132,680. It just looks like we need your guys' approval.
What's that last number, Bree? 132,
680.
16?
What was that again, Bree? I'm sorry.
It's a contractual services agreement between Purdue University and the county. And this is for 2025. It's something we sign, the county signs every year. And if the county pays the extension, or pays Purdue like for their computers because they're not on our network.
I'm looking to see what we.
I don't remember.
I don't either.
Probably did know, but don't remember.
Did I forward it? I think I forwarded it to you. Amy had sent it to me. Do you remember them signing this? She sent it to me last Wednesday. And I looked back at previous years and it looked like the commissioner president had always signed off.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty typical agreement, unless there's something new.
It was around the same amount that we always pay them.
Yeah.
You need a motion?
I think that's the way it's always been.
Is this for the extension staff or just the computers in the county?
Well, we pay for the extension agent and
Two of their employees are county employees.
2 of their employees.
The other ones are Purdue employees.
Or they pay for the extension agent, we pay for the employees.
We only pay for 2 employees though.
What covers that then?
I think this is more their computers.
Their computers, extension.
We might have sent it.
I didn't find it.
Yeah, I didn't find it.
Here, let me-
I'm back to 10:3. Would you send it after that?
I probably would have said it Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, that's what I went back to.
Does that need to be approved this week, Bruce? Do you know?
She just said that she needed it to get it signed, and then I also have to send her a copy of the approved budget with a signature as well for her to get to Purdue.
Yeah, so in exchange for the payment, in the amount of $132,680, Adams County to Purdue, Purdue Extension will provide extension services through the Adams County Extension, including 3 county educators. These staff will provide local extension services in the following program areas: 4-H youth development, agricultural, natural resources, and health and human sciences. Each educator will have an individual program area focus. Okay, so forth. Education will also contribute to regional statewide programs. Let's see. Actual services for educators. To me, this is personnel that they are providing, that we're paying for that lump sum and they're providing those.
I always thought they would just provide those.
Yeah, I don't know. That's, to me, that's
What?
what it says.
Why don't you send that to us and let's
Yeah,
consider
take a
that
look
next
at it.
week.
She did.
What was,
Okay, we got it now.
Yes, we got it now.
Okay, let's look at it.
and then they provide, so they're we're paying, a lump sum. They're employees. They have health and retirement benefits through Purdue. Purdue University will provide for the high-speed internet connection and a technology allowance for every county educator. So maybe that's the IT portion. I don't know. But I'd say, if you want to really look at what it is that is being provided in exchange for that payment, you got to look at Appendix 1 to the agreement. Do you all have a copy of that? Okay. Yeah, take a look at it. And if you want to compare budget-wise to what you've done in the past.
What would that be under in the budget?
Extension, their number wasn't,
Would that be under the commissioner's budget,
no, they have their own budget. Their own department.
county co-op extension service?
Yes. Is that next year's?
No, this is this year's. I just want to see what we've typically done. Okay, extension service.
And obviously, since I just got it now, I don't know if the budget would be correct.
See, for contractual services, this year for the budget, we had 133,840.
And they may have, I feel like they.
If I'm looking at the right line.
What's that figure stand, 133,
So that's 133,840 is what we paid them this year.
840?
So then,
That's your county employees.
and then this is just the services that they provide.
That you pay to Purdue. That we've done, I went back several years.
Okay. So this is something we've done regularly.
Yeah, because I went back to see who had signed it.
Looks to me like the amount is probably okay.
So there's our extension budget. So yeah, I think too, the amount is,
Oh, yeah, the contractual services is right here.
It's actually down a little bit than from this
Yeah.
year.
see that here?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Yeah. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
So I
Okay,
believe
and your,
that's,
your motion is for me to sign the.
yes.
Yep.
And it looks like there's 2 spots for each.
All right.
That was,
You going to, Stan? You're going to vote too?
Yeah.
Okay, good, 3-0.
Unless you want to eliminate 4H. Probably better.
did you sign this?
Not yet. I'm still-
Don't lose them. Okay. I think the last thing is the Byrne Public Library submitted a new appointment. I can just read it to you. Wendy Ballmer has expressed that she has served 2 4-year terms on the Byrne Public Library Board and does not desire a 3rd term. The board appreciates her service as board member. Her term expires October 31st, 2024. Kathleen Roush of 217 West Water Street has indicated her willingness to serve as a Byrne Public Library board member. She is both a library user and supporter and would welcome your appointment to the library board. The appointment will be a 4-year term to end on October 31st, 2028. And then they enclosed the forms for you guys to approve. And
I don't know, or do you know? And this comes as a recommendation from,
Byrne Public Library.
any thoughts?
I guess they should know.
They should know. Make a motion to accept it.
Second.
Hey, Bree, is her last name Rausch?
R-A-U, yes.
That's what I'm talking, okay.
I don't think they put somebody else in it.
No. They're in the best position to recruit a good board member.
I believe Stan, you just signed up. And I think that's all I have. Yeah, that's all I have.
Her first name's Stephanie, right?
You're with Kathleen.
Kathleen Roush with a K.
You have to sign that bottom. You're the adopted, you're the appointee.
Oh, so I probably should have printed it here. So I gotta do both of those?
I get, yeah, probably one is for the clerk's office and one is to send back.
That was everything. I have the broadband letter, but I think it's on this thing to do it.
It's coming up in her attorney.
All right. Thank you, Bree. I know you took longer than Tony usually does. All right. Nate, what do you have for us?
Couple of items for you today. Have a request for your approval on the Bridge 155 plans. Plan is, that has been submitted for a community crossing expansion grant. We're still waiting on the award, so this would not be to advertise the project, just essentially your authorization. That way I can have that added to plan set. We can try to close that contract out with USI. So we'll have those drawings ready to go to bid. Once we have notification, if we're awarded federal or community crossings funds, then I would schedule an advertisement date and bring it back to you. So this isn't an advertisement for that bridge. It's just so that I can have signatures on that cover sheet. The drawings are essentially done for that project.
Okay, accept the motion.
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, very good.
We'll get that signed and back. I think it's got Tony's name on there, so we'll just leave it for him when he's back from conference. Next item is just a bridge deck sounding, just kind of an update for you. Brad thankfully has been helping me out with that. We're going out and looking at, right now the plan is 16 bridges along the north part of the county. We're just chaining a number of different decks looking for issues. We found some minor issues on some, but we hit one just yesterday that probably need to completely change what my proposal is for that, because there's so much delamination on it. But you don't know till you go out there and actually do the inspection testing of it. So we're doing that in-house.
So that, will you be able to do all 16 bridges in a day?
Oh, no. So we did about 4 or 5 yesterday and just one this morning, actually. So a couple big river bridges. I want to make sure that they stay in good shape. The sort of work that I'm hoping to do is more of what you saw on Bridge 40 on Washington Street, where we just remove the bad areas and patch it. I'm hoping to catch them when the areas are small. Unfortunately, since we don't have a long history of doing that sort of testing, what I'm finding on some is there's either nothing, very minor, which is great, that's what I want, or on one of them we found probably about 15 to 20% of the deck needs to be replaced.
So this is nothing that falls under the company that's doing our bridge deck or our bridge inspection company?
Correct. It's not one of the tests that they do. So that's why I'm doing them, because I think it's an important part of what we end up doing with those concrete decks. So, and it's not something I got to figure out a plan on how to deal with that. That's why I mentioned north versus south, where we have the buggy traffic, there's more erosion to that concrete. So I'm looking at concrete mixes and what we do in the territories of the Amish run. That's where I need to find out different ways to try to do that work. So it's going to be more beneficial to the north to do that patching versus in the south. We're going to come up with an option, or at least a plan. Unfortunately, there's no models in the state for how to deal with that. So.
Well, and I guess the one thing that I'd like to point out is the advantage of you doing this pre-work as opposed to, some of the word that comes back to us from neighboring counties where they had to either decrease load ratings or completely close bridges due to lack of maintenance. So, what this as an ongoing expense eliminates failures and huge expenses down the road.
For us to do that work in-house, you've already got us on staff. It's something that I'm able to do. And the preventative maintenance projects are stuff I'm developing internally anyway. It's a good use of my time. I think the return on that investment is significant. I know firms that are offering to do this in a more technological way. They're like, well, we have thermal cameras on drones that we can run, and it'll be a small charge of $5,000 to do that for a bridge. Me and Brad and a chain on a stick are really all we need. It's rather simple. It's just you got to go out there and do it. And I don't need a consultant to tell me how to do that, what we're finding, but there is some things where consultants are very valuable. Yeah. So
very good. Thank you.
Nate, I also appreciate the fact that systematic way then that you guys go out and lay eyes on every bridge.
Yeah.
Just, we don't miss any that way.
No, and I need to get up to speed on it. There's 163-ish bridges in the
Yeah.
county, so I can't get all of them right away, but we're gonna work our way through it. And it's frustrating to go back to a bridge and find something you didn't see the first time, but
Yeah.
we didn't have this process in place. And as we go through it and wind through it, you're gonna catch it, if not the first time, the second or the third. And so just time and then having that process in place is gonna be very valuable to the county.
Yeah.
So, but my goal is that people are gonna see more smaller repairs happening versus just replacing a bridge once every 60 years. So,
I would hate to venture what our investment is just in our bridges, but to think about the capital investment we've got in our bridge system and what it takes to maintain that capital investment, I think is just, it can't be understated,
Yeah.
can't be overstated how important it is that we maintain that capital investment in our bridges.
The math, if I did a area calculation of the bridges and the cost per square foot, I think it would knock the socks off of everybody.
I don't even want to go there, but I just can't.
You don't want to know what that capital investment is in the bridges alone.
Yeah.
I could pick out single bridges that'll probably rival the cost of whole facilities. So, but that's just, it's part of the process and why it's important for us to go through that. So, long tangent, sorry, but it's why we're doing the little things like this.
Yeah.
Bridge 132, E&B Paving has been contracted to do that work. They are now stating that their plan is to start on October 29th. That's next Tuesday. So they'll be closing that bridge to remove the asphalt surface that's on there. They'll put a mask or a PetroTac or a waterproofing membrane on that bridge, patch it, and then try to pave over that on the Wednesday following. So obviously that's weather permitting. They have more time in the schedule, but I think their plan is to try to get that in 2 days based on what they're telling me.
So that bridge will be closed.
That will be closed. So it's right up there by, I think it's Lehman Beats there on 000 south, right 50 south. And then lastly, just an update for you as well. I am in conversations with 3 different consulting firms for on-call quality control work. So we talk about doing work in-house, but because I'm a department of one, there's really no one else to try to do reviews, quality control reviews of some of the drawings or documents that I put together. And there's some specialty details and work that I don't have in-house. So what I can do is do a lot of the project development, inspection, planning, use my stamp, and then work with, my plan is to work with 3 firms right now. I'm working with 1 here in 2024, but I've sent out draft contracts to 3 firms. 2 of them have already signed and sent them back. So they're that eager. 1 is going through their legal department to make sure that they're satisfied with it. But if you're in agreement, then probably in December, I'll present those agreements to do that work. It is within the budgeted amount for my consulting services for next year. Rather than give 1 contract to a firm, I'm going to have them on call for multiple, and then I can rotate work amongst those 3. I don't really want to look at more than 3. I think it'd be too difficult to manage on my part. I should get enough review, at least enough consultants. So if I get a comment from 1 on this type of project, I can take that type of project to another firm and see if I'm getting the same message from different ones or continue to better the process. So that's my goal.
Good deal.
Working on that right now.
You know, and it sounds efficient, and it doesn't, there's no redundancy there as far as what they're doing versus what you're doing. And
No.
so,
And it doesn't tie up. I'm not waiting on the consultant to get back with me on something. I can do a lot of the development in-house, and then I've just got a time frame as far as return. So if I give them a project review, I'm asking to have their comments back in 2 weeks. That keeps the project moving and the process moving, and they're not really large projects.
Yeah.
So,
very
Thanks,
good.
Nate.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Brad, you have anything for us?
Oh, yeah. More stuff for you guys to sign. So good morning.
Morning.
First thing I have is NDOT letter of understanding for an unofficial detour. And if you remember, I don't know, a few weeks ago, I came in and discussed this. It'll be the one just on the west side of Geneva there. They're replacing that big culvert. And they are anticipating it to start in early spring of '25. So we also discussed traffic going up 200 west, going north to 950 south, and then it'll take them back out 27. The reason we did that is because NDOT sends along their signage map also, and their sign is going to be right at 200 west that says road closed. So it just makes sense, and we've been kind of learning through the last few projects. They're going to turn and go up 200 west. Then they're going to go right, and then they're going to turn.
Is that okay for heavy trucks? 200 west?
We actually just finished building that road. We put the final layer on this spring.
But that won't be the official truck route.
No,
That's not
that
the
is not the
official
truck route. This is only unofficial for over traffic.
Basically, for reimbursement purposes.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So also before I mean, need you to sign this, but also now we go back to, within the next week or two, we will be back in to do no through truck routes. Planning for this. We're gonna be ahead of it this time. We're gonna, then we can do it next year when they start.
Good deal.
So yeah, we'll be back in.
How long is that detail supposed to last, do they estimate?
No, they didn't estimate, but it's a smaller structure, so I'd say probably a month. So yes, I need, you guys, I need your
Yeah,
signatures
take a
on this.
motion to
Check. Make a motion to adopt that. Second.
Any reports then to update us on railroad crossings?
They're all done. Or I shouldn't say done, they're all paved, they're all open, and all of them. They just need to go back and they're gonna have to do some cleanup work, of the mess they made, but it's not in the road, it's not on the tracks. So they are all open, they're all paved.
They cut brush back?
They did, but I think they could do a little more.
And that was primarily on 1,000 North, right?
Correct, that was 1,000 north. The others are pretty open. You can see a lot longer distance.
Okay.
So,
Have they increased the speed of the trains yet?
I don't know.
They're probably not going to check with you before they do that, are they?
Supposedly, I had a concerned citizen call in and say, they're running day and they're running night. And I'm like, they don't let me know that stuff. And that I can't really do anything about anything.
Well, I at least appreciate you got in contact with somebody else.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, no, awesome. They're all open. They're much better, much smoother.
and then as far as a stop sign at Pickway Road, is that something you talked about filing with the state, saying we've got a citizen complaint on that? Or no?
Being Pickway 101.
Pickway and 101.
Yeah.
Whether the state would consider that
Yeah.
something different there for, I mean, I know
Yeah.
if we have a citizen complaint, they may go back and look at it.
Yeah, and I think the sheriff and I have talked about this before too. That's within Pickway 101.
Yeah.
And it seems to be a pretty common.
We can have Jerry look at it and, that Northeast group, if they give a recommendation saying it needs something like that, then that will look at that a whole lot better than coming from us.
Well, so whatever you need to make that contact, it sounds like that'd be, might prevent some
You
future.
want to reach out to?
Yeah, I'll contact Jerry.
Thank you. So, yeah. All right, the other two things I have are permits. They are for NIPSCO. One of them is on 8410 North Pickle Road. They are going to install a gas service line. So it'll be like a 5/8 service. And they are going to have to bore under the road. So they'll dig in the right of way so they can set their machines up. They'll bore under the road. They're not going to disturb the road. They'll be fine where they're at.
Okay, motion to approve. Or do you want to wait for all of them?
They're both with NIPSCO, so we'll do the other one too. The other one is on 90 West.
Sorry about
Yes.
Ready to go.
that. Yeah, that's right.
90 West Quell Run, which is in the two subdivisions, where you want to call them, up there on North Pickle Road. And they are going to delete a service line. So basically what that means is they're going to go up to the gas main, and I believe their gas main is actually in the road. They'll dig it up, go down, and do what they do to cut off that gas line and cap it. So
Wonder if they
there again,
replaced it with something else maybe, or what?
no, I don't want it. Sounds like non-payment for service, which is interesting. Anyhow, yeah. Yeah.
That's not for the church though, is it?
No. No.
Make
Yeah.
a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion carries. That's for both of them.
Too.
That's a serious shut off, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, yeah, when they're deleting the gas line.
It's interesting. And just, while you guys are signing that, just kind of a little, over the weekend, we had an incident where a farmer come out of the field. Steve, apparently you already heard this. He come out of the field with a piece of tillage equipment and did not realize, it was like 2 or 3 pieces, and he didn't realize one piece was still almost down. And he come out on a chip sealed road and dug in just enough, and it just peeled the chip seal up real nice for about 100 yards. So Paul went out Friday night and he was able to grade all the loose stuff off the road. But our crew went out yesterday. We finished peeling off all the chip seal, got it back down to the stone and cleaned it up and reshot it yesterday. So he felt really bad.
Well, I'm glad you still had the weather to do that.
Yeah, exactly. We were fortunate.
So you could get the
And,
repair done right away.
and also, we don't have any oil, but we've been going to Jay County, and Jay County's still getting oil in, so we were able to go down, get the oil. We got the equipment back out and redid that. We did a double layer like we would building road. So it went good. It looks good. So we were very fortunate. It happens.
Tell them to bring in a couple bushel of corn.
Yeah. Yep. So anyhow, that is all I have.
All right. Any other questions for Brad? All right. Thank you. All right, Rick, what do you have for us? There's been people working and working out in that alley there, so.
I think they got last main run has been ran this morning. Big wire.
Pulled through the country.
Yeah. So now we're probably working on getting it down into the generator outside. Everything should be still on for November 2nd, shut the building, which is a Saturday. Sounds like the one I did. Courthouse. I believe they're going to try to have the generator moved over there, if not before, no later than Thursday. Yeah, keep it open. So yeah, this is sort of the that's going along well.
I was over there yesterday. I didn't even think to look at that.
Yeah, you want to see what the concrete pad. Yeah, I thought I did.
Good.
Got maintenance done on our boilers and things for the winter. I'm changing filters out. I may change some filters out on election day, just while nobody's here. Sure. Interruption. I kind of ran out of use of.
Very good. Well, I'm glad to hear we're still on target for November 2nd to get that done. And, that'll.
Now that, everything should get wired in on that November 2nd. Not quite sure about the startup of the generator yet. It'll all be wired and ready to go.
Okay. So what happens then with the startup? Is that going to happen on a non-business day also?
No.
Okay.
That part will
So
come
no
down.
more interruptions in
Should be
power?
no more interruptions.
Gotcha.
From that point forward, I hope we never use it, but we should never have power out here.
Rick, do we have a plan once this is all done and the dust is settled and we think everything is done and everything is right to test it?
Yeah.
To take the power down to this building and have the generator come up and
Yeah.
repower the building and see what all works and what doesn't work and.
That will happen on on that initial day of firing the generator up.
Okay.
It'll be shut off. I'd kind of like to do that after hours, just in case, maybe after 4 PM.
Well, one of the things you may want to do is you may want to do that, schedule to do that annually or twice a year or something.
Well, it'll run through a test mode.
I understand that, but I'm talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
actually have the generator power the building for a test.
Right.
Be nice to know if everybody's here that what that experience is with our computers and our servers and our, all that stuff. I don't know. I don't know what the risk reward piece of that, but I can tell you that from my experience, just the expectation that the generator is going to come up and power the whole building, sometimes it doesn't work that way on test day. Even after you've tested it and tried it, things change, and next thing you know, you've got circuits that got somehow bypassed the generator and they don't come up, and it probably is worth considering anyway that there be an annual actual full-blown test of that system. But when you do that, make sure you have a fallback plan that when things don't go as planned, we can flip the switch and we're right back to mainline power again too.
This is all said and done, I'll probably come ask you what our intentions are with the existing generator.
Right.
Or do we want to leave it in there? It'll still be able to function. Say that one wouldn't work. So we can talk about all that
Oh, that's interesting.
later.
I don't know that we need to have a backup generator for a backup generator.
But it might cost more to get it out of there than it's worth.
I'm just saying you got options.
Yeah, very good.
That's all I got.
All right.
Good work. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Rick.
Rick.
Hey, Rick, you're gonna move the generator from the Gold Meadow to the courthouse on Thursday.
All right, very good. Ed, what do you have for us today?
I think Rick was in the office yesterday. We got some light bulbs that we're going to be changing around, old ones that we're updating to the nice LEDs. And so that'll be going. Taxes are coming in good. We actually have about a quarter, just shy of a quarter of the fall taxes paid for the year. Overall, we're doing good. 99.24% for the spring taxes. And a couple of those are not paid because of the tax sale. We've had two people, taxes, the due date is November 12th. That's 4 weeks from today. So 4 weeks from today is the due date. Our tax sale's coming up at the end of the month, October 31st, 10 a.m. We've had two people pay since last week. So we're down to 7. We started this process in July and we had 84 on the list. So people drag their feet until the last few weeks and they say, oh, well, I better get those paid. So they do. Down to how many? 7. That's really good. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's really good. Sheriff Dan was in my office yesterday. We looked over some security updates that we're going to be doing here shortly and looking kind of down the road, future years, what we want to do to button things up a little bit. But he's a lot of stuff I can kind of visualize, but I need the professionals like Sheriff Dan to come in and tell me exactly what we need to concentrate on. So we are making plans on that. And then yesterday, I was not there, but State Board of Accounts came in. I know, Stan, you were, for the exit interviews. And I understand from Tony that Adams County went through, I know they had one teeny tiny little thing in my office to talk about. And it was basically the stuff that we do every day anyway. They went Kathy and Kim when they both do something to initial whatever forms they're working on.
Yeah, and I think they were in here, and I think the results of their report were confidential, so we obviously don't want to go into detail.
Yeah, I don't need to.
But Yeah, I guess I would like to give kudos to our auditor's office for doing an exceptional job in maintaining,
That's all I have.
yes.
Gentleman said.
And your department also.
Thank you.
So,
I was wondering if you was going to put that in.
yeah, so thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
October 31st. Yes. 10 a.m. in this room.
All right, Sheriff, what do you have for us today?
Two items. First, I submit a contract to Mark for an agreement with the state with the flock cameras. It seems really thick. A lot of it's just all the plans and installation stuff that I attached to it. But I don't see any issues with it. In reference where it talks about LAE is responsible for cost, that's the cost that I pay flock for installation and all that. So
And
there's
those are
really-
the two,
No, these are 8 more coming in that are on state right of ways. The 2 on Pickle Road are already up and operational, we're using them.
okay.
But this is, on state right of ways, we have to go through the permitting process with DOT. So that's that. Second is, I'd like permission from the board to look at possibly another use for the Golden Meadows building, and possibly turning that into a training facility for the sheriff's office. So what I'd like to do is get permission from you to go in front of the BZA to look at a special use change of the property and to possibly get a survey done on the property land to see exactly where we are with that. Because one of the things I'm looking at doing is putting in a firing range out there. So that will all need approval through BZA. I've already spoke to the majority of all the neighbors, letting them know that this might be coming to them because they will get a letter from the BZA for the hearing. But I'm here to ask that permission.
We've got a survey Miller did back when we sold farm off, so it wouldn't be hard for him to give you distances. I mean, he'll probably have, in terms of setbacks, is that what you're needing?
And exactly see what the property lines are on it and all that, from when they did the sale on the other side of the creek? Okay, so.
Yeah,
I'll
we've
get
got a
it.
survey.
Okay, so
But-
it might be done then.
Yeah, but as far as setbacks, you might maybe want to know where to set pins or,
Exactly.
but Miller's got all the
They
data.
can
Okay.
go out there and stake it. Yeah.
Okay.
To me, I think this sounds like a fantastic opportunity, Sheriff. I appreciate you thinking through it, and, I know there's a lot more than just a firing range you're considering out there, so
Correct.
what a great potential use for that building that I couldn't figure out what we were going to do with. So
Yeah, I mean, it's
appreciate it.
something that, because right now we don't have our own range. We're at the whims of Burn PD, which I'm very appreciative of what they do, but they control what we can and cannot do out there. I have a simulator that is out in a barn right now, which is not the best environment for it. That could be put inside. We can do DTs out there. It's just, I think it's something that could grow and preserve a building that is built like, I couldn't believe it, how it's built. But in the basement, it has facilities that we can use for force-on-force training with paintballs, ammunition that won't hurt anything. I mean, it's just, it'll be an investment for the county, but I just want to break the ground to see if it's even feasible.
Well, I wonder if maybe even, the local, city police departments, and I would assume you would potentially have some opportunities for training there that aren't available in other areas. So
Correct.
that could be a shared
Love to be able to
resource.
host training,
Sure.
bring outside instructors in and open it up, and that could be I would say, depending on how often it's done, but it could be a small fundraising for the maintenance of the building and stuff too.
I know from a training standpoint, it's hard to find great facilities that you can go in and make your own and make the training
Correct.
As close to what you would encounter in real life as what you can make it. And I think that building's a fantastic opportunity to do that.
And I think Stan, you told me Arnold is the one who farms the plot just to the south, what's in corn right now?
Dean Arnold.
Dean, okay. So depending on how this moves forward, is that a year-to-year contract you guys do with the farmers for that?
Well, He actually owns the land to the east.
On the other side of the creek.
So I don't know how that contract on that couple acres of corn is. Do you remember, Mark, did we do I can't remember how we did that.
And this is the
small plot,
south
whether we
part that
just
runs
deemed it
adjacent to
farm
the,
that too.
septic field.
No, I think we've got a separate agreement for that. That's actually Frickty that's
I was
doing
gonna say,
that.
that's
Oh, it's
Brittany, and
Brittany
that's,
that does.
that's Craig.
We've got a separate, yeah, we've got a separate lease for that.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
took bids on that.
Ricky has that one. Doug has the other.
Fallsdale has the the main jail farm and
So we need to look at that, to see when that deadline is for him. or
They know
when
about it. I
that
think
could
our
be
See if I have a
sewer
copy.
district is still thinking.
possibly
about
canceled or
it.
whatever
They've got
for
lines
his
there.
planning for next
Especially
year,
if we
if this
keep
moves
it.
forward.
yeah, I think it's 3 years with the right to option or renew. Well, it's a 3-year contract, but it can be terminated at harvest either year. I believe. I can look it up.
Okay. But yeah, so permission to go in front of the BCA and at least talk to Miller Land Survey to see what he has, and see if it meets what our needs are, if we need to construct the, fine range.
Yeah, I think that sounds great.
Make motion to approve, you going before the BZA and requesting a special use permit. Second.
Okay, I vote in favor of that also.
Mark, you just get back with me on that sometime?
Yeah, what's our cost on this thing?
It's what I already been budgeted for through Lock Camera. They're the ones that pay for all that. I pay them and they do the installation and then we rent the cameras from them. But, so there really is no cost for us doing what's talks about in there. It's
So
all
this is just the state approving what you already have planned
correct. It's
What
getting
we've already
their
talked
okey-dokey to
about.
put those cameras on their
on
right of
there,
way.
Yeah.
in there
This
right
is-
away.
It's an agreement to locate this equipment in their right of way.
Correct.
And all the,
It says they're not responsible for anything, which I know that, we're responsible for it. But honestly, Flock's responsible for it. If it gets hit by a car, or it gets taken out by a plow, Flock,
Since you started talking about those, I see those things everywhere. I just don't, I never
I
noticed
see
them
them all the time
before.
too.
But now that you've brought it to my attention, it's like, oh, there's one of those
Yeah.
things.
yeah, there's drawings, locations, I mean, there's everything in here. This is one of those take it or leave it type of
Correct,
agreements.
it is with the state, and it's what everybody uses with Flock all over the state, even what the state police use. They still have to set a
I
contract.
mean, I've looked through it. There's,
You need a motion to
need a
approve.
motion to authorize the execution of this agreement. It's between the Indiana Department of Transportation and the Adams County Sheriff's Office for installation of law enforcement equipment. Just need a motion to
So,
approve.
do you feel a need to review it even,
Gone through it here.
or
It's
you're comfortable with
typical
it?
state agreement.
What's it for?
This is to locate that equipment within state right of way
For the Flock cameras.
for the cameras.
Put them on 124, I assume,
124,
27.
116, 101, 27, 33, yeah.
You said total of
8. We'll have a total of 10.
Okay.
Burns getting 2, Decatur's getting 4, more in-town type stuff. But this basically covers all the major roadways coming into the county, minus Winchester Road. And if Byrne or Geneva picks up a couple, you might move mine to get a couple cameras up on Winchester Road. But right now, we have 2 functioning on Pickwa Road. One there, 850 and Pickwa, and then Pickwa,
550.
yeah, around 550.
So you've already,
And as a reminder, these cameras just film license plates and compare that license plate identification to a list of,
Wanted, stolen, I could put in the list, like say there's an Amber Alert and I think this car is involved. I could put that into what they call a hot list, and that puts it in the whole national, and if that car is picked up anywhere in the country, I would get an alert to where that car is. It doesn't do speed timing devices, it doesn't take a picture of the person, it just strictly runs the plate, the vehicle owner of that plate, if they're wanted or something like that, or HTV, those are things. And we've had them now that we get hits of HTV, but
What's
they have
HTV?
habitual traffic violator where they're not allowed to drive. But they might get special privilege orders from courts. So we can actually go in and then take that plate out of it because we know the owner has an order that allows him to drive. So we just take it out so we don't keep getting the false hits. So it's been very beneficial already.
I make motion to approve. Steve's probably not gonna second that. It's all right.
I'll second that. Motion carries.
Take a vote. All in favor? Steve can vote against.
road, go around it.
Okay. All those opposed?
Yes.
All right, good. Well, yeah, I mean, I would,
You didn't
I
mention
go
tree
through
one, that's in there too.
I understand.
Me too. I get it. I get it.
Paper puts it in there. I don't think they were paying attention.
No, I don't think, yeah.
You know, I don't think they were paying attention.
That vote was 2-1. Steve's opposed to.
We don't do those 2-1 votes very often.
It was 2-1. I voted nay.
Okay, now I got it. Okay, 2-1.
Paper wasn't paying attention.
You're authorized to sign. They got your signature on here. so
I think they
I'll
last
sign
time
it.
too.
I know.
Make sure
I voted. It's the last time, you know how many phone calls I got, people thinking that we were glad that somebody is sticking that for the people of the county.
I did say 2-1.
2-1.
2-1.
You did that. That shows it. What's that?
Brad's sitting back there smiling because he knew I wasn't for it.
All right, Mark, what do you have for us?
Sorry.
2 subdivisions.
Much regulation.
Yep.
Oversight.
We'll get this one out of the way because you're familiar with it. I didn't bring a map for this. It's just the final time to. Far. The Holly Ridge Estates subdivision.
It's coming through the
Plans
plans.
changed since the last time. It went through.
This is Winchester Road, right?
Yes, sir.
So they still got that one there.
Does it show the combined driveways?
How many lots total? About 10? 12 lots.
13, sorry.
13, okay.
Yes, 13 lots.
13 lots, okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
It does show the driveways. These little red easements right there.
Yep, right there. Is there a driveway on this one? Or is it coming out right here with?
Well, since that's by itself, they didn't pick up wherever they wanted. They just showed.
Gotcha.
I'm behaving myself.
Okay, motion carries. I'll vote in favor.
Thank you.
You look kind of neat up there. We're changing our look. Looks neat.
I tried to look like Tony, but.
Don't try to look like me. I go to get a haircut. Barbara says, "How do you want done?" I said, "Cut them both off."
So was that the last piece then of
That's
that
it.
subdivision work? So he can start building houses then?
Yes, sir.
But-
Start selling.
But he will have to put sewer to those houses.
Correct. Yeah,
That's right.
They wouldn't probably have a sewer permit. They wouldn't be able to
Couldn't
get
occupy.
a permit from me.
Okay.
So this is just, this is actually the 2 lots minor that we did a while back. And since you guys have changed the rule that you do get another bite of the apple and you can do up to 3, even though if it's later down the road, that is what happened here. We just have this one big lot right here. They took a
Chunk out of the
took
corner.
a chunk out of the corner, and now this is the 3rd lot
Okay,
of this
out of that.
minor.
Okay. Motion approved.
Okay, motion carries.
Yeah, that's,
You know where-
they've done something there.
Yeah.
haven't they?
Yeah, there was a correction that got made.
Nope.
understand how they keep live going.
At least it's not China where they take a picture of your license if you're speeding and go ahead and deduct it right out of your.
Part of our discussion with Greg Fleming when we approved that rezoning was that he would request those big lots to be zoned back to agriculture. Do I need to talk to Greg and remind him about that?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, they just added that.
That's against our ordinance, so I don't know if that's possible.
What do you mean it's against your ordinance?
Going ahead.
Which big lots are you talking about?
Well,
The 10 through 13?
yeah, well, 11, 12, and 13, I think.
Yeah. I mean, our ordinance says you have to take them out of that.
To do what?
I don't know what you mean. So it was ag, and when you do a major, the major can't stay ag anymore.
Right,
The last one.
right.
You asked him to put it back to ag. Is that what you said?
We did, yes.
I'll have to see how that would work, because that
Okay.
goes totally.
The thinking there was that then they wouldn't be able to further subdivide those 11, 12, and 13. Because as it stands now, as zone residential, they can continue to subdivide 11, 12, and 13.
Well, they could, yep, they could still do it. Told it otherwise too. No matter what zone you call it, you can always come back in for another.
Oh, you guys wanted a copy?
You could, but it would have to come back through here
Oh,
again
absolutely.
first.
Well, there's the reason why we made it along, 3 years ago to not be ag anymore. We can do a major.
But that would then pull that out of that major subdivision. Remove it from that major
Let me give
subdivision.
you a copy.
Unless they need, unless we're the
I
county.
don't know how that would work with, but we broke the rules, so I'm
Okay.
not against you, I'm not trying to fight you. That,
No, it's just information.
Understand the intention was to try to, because Greg had no intention of further subdividing those large plots.
at this time.
That's the problem. At this time, and Greg, you know,
That's just for, so we can send out.
okay, okay.
Okay, anything else, Mark?
Nope.
All right.
Hey, Mark. What's going on? Stick around, we'll talk about these specs. Do you have any questions on it?
All right. We've got a letter of approval for Mainstream Fiber Network. So I don't know if you've got a copy of that or.
I know Clayton had worked on that. He had reviewed that also. That's the letter where we would identify our support for Mainstream Fiber Networks going through the state grant funding program to receive funding for expanding the broadband network in Adams County. And they had asked us to provide a letter of support from the commissioners. Initially, we had a problem with that letter, and then it indicated that our support for them was exclusive.
Yeah.
We pulled the exclusivity out of that, and Clayton reviewed that.
Yep.
And Clayton felt like that it was now something that he could recommend that we would sign. And so that's and I've been the one that's been meeting with Mainstream Fiber on that. So and I reviewed it also, and I can support it at this point. So I don't know whether you guys have seen it or not, but if you haven't, take a look at it. But I would make a motion to support and allow Stan to sign that for the commissioners, that letter of support for Mainstream Fiber Networks
As non-exclusive.
as non-exclusive.
Right,
That's
Clayton
correct.
and I spoke about that.
Our non-exclusive support for them.
I'll second that.
All right, motion carried. Mark, what else do you have?
For the transportation garage, so we've got I give you a copy of the request for proposals, or request for quotes. So it's not a formal bidding process, but it's quote process because of the amounts involved are less than the requirements for formal competitive bids, but you still solicit quotes from local contractors to complete the work. And so we've got it, I've met with Mark several times, and he's got specifications. I've incorporated those specifications then into a formal specification document along with a request for quotes. And so you've got there the request for quotes. The Board of Commissioners are seeking quotes from local contractors to provide labor, materials to construct a transportation garage to be utilized by Adams County Council on Aging. And the work will take place on the property that's owned by the county at the corner of 12th Street and Dayton Street in Decatur. Adams County Building Planning Director will be the owner representative and project manager for the project. We've got the project broke down into 6 separate divisions. And so contractors submitting a quote for a project division shall submit a bid to supply all services, labor, materials, and equipment supplies to complete the work for any project division on the bid form included with specifications. And so we put a bid form together as well. Any questions about that should be directed to the project manager. So we've also requiring all bids must state an estimated time for commencement and completion. County reserves the right to reject any bid or combinations thereof and may consider time for completion as a substantial factor of award. We require a certificate of insurance, and that's spelled out in the specifications. Right now, the plan is to open, to receive those quotes and to read those and consider them at your meeting following Election Day on November 6th. So that gives a little more than 2 weeks. Mark, you think that's adequate? So if you guys approve soliciting these quotes, then I'll email you the final. I know in here I had room 102. It's actually room 100. So I made that change. And then you can get them out. So I think, so what we'll do, and we can talk if you got time maybe after the meeting here. I think what you want to do is send out the request for proposal document. That's basically the invitation to bid to the contractors in each division that you think would be interested in doing the work. Obviously, there's some contractors that may interested in doing all of the work. There'll be some that will maybe want to do 1 or 2 divisions. And so that's why we've got it set up that, you can receive individuals bids, they can do a combination, and then you'll look at everything and decide what's best. And also consider time for completion, obviously, as a factor, because obviously we'd like to get the foundation in as soon as possible. Excavation is a separate division, so that has to take place first, and then concrete. And then once concrete's down, you can frame in the winter and do all the rest of the work in the winter if that's the way it is. So that's kind of why we've got it broke down the way that it is. Let me pull up the actual specifications. And I'll talk to you about this, Mark, is how we'll do the combination bids. But anyway, we do have the plans. So we've got engineered drawings, we've got plans. We also have a survey. So I think we'll want to send a copy of the survey along so they can see the actual footprint and where it's at. I did say in here that the north building is to remain undisturbed. The south building, they're going to raise and remove, put the pad in. North building's going to stay for now. So and I don't remember, maybe on the survey, you'll want to, kind of show the limits of construction or something and show, hey, we're not going to be building north of this line. Everything down here is fair game.
They'll have a same GIS marking of where the building's going to sit that I took through a BZA in the city.
Oh, okay.
They're going to get that copy.
Yep.
So that they can see, how far from the property line it goes.
Yep, setbacks and all that stuff. Yep, perfect. So I would say with the invitation to quote, the actual specifications and the bid form, obviously that goes out, and then I'll include the drawing, survey, and anything else that you think is relevant to include. That way everybody's, got the same stuff. So Division 1, again, is demolition, excavation, and site prep. 2 is concrete and foundation. 3 is framing. 4 is plumbing. And you know, the nice thing is your building plan director was a contractor for years, so he understands the importance of timing and scheduling and what should happen first. And so he can manage that. Electrical, will attach that list that you had. Probably want to type at the top of that, materials and quantity list, additional specifications or something like that. You can have Megan or just type that on there, but I would include, obviously, that has to be part of the specs because we're incorporating
I'm
that.
not, I'll have all this packeted together.
Yep.
Invitations, I'm gonna tell them that they should pick them up, on Thursday between 8 and noon or something like
Yep.
that.
And then on the actual bid form, which we can talk about a little bit more afterwards here, but we've got a bid total for each division. In Division 1, excavation, you mentioned wanting an allowance for utility connections to the city. So,
Which I have recently gotten, the city provided me with a map to show where they're at.
okay, good. And then the only other thing is we had a bid alternate then on Division 6 for HVAC to provide, an estimated bid alternate for providing those mini splits. And so I did put something in the specs to say the contractor to determine sizing of equipment necessary to reasonably meet temperature requirements for occasional extreme conditions. So I guess we want to make sure that we don't get something that's just fair weather. That's something that at least is going to be reasonable if we do get some extreme cold, which obviously we do get from time to time. So other than that, I think that's it. I guess I just ask for a motion, gentlemen, for you to approve us getting these requests for quotes out.
I make a motion.
Yeah, vote in favor of that also.
Any questions on it? All right,
And Mark, you could open quotes on November 6th.
November 6th.
Yeah, after election.
Yeah, they got to be turned in. And I put in here that those should be turned in by 10 o'clock on November 6th. On quotes, usually I like to do them the day before, but, I say 4 o'clock the day before, but we're close on election day. So I said, well, let's just make it 10 a.m. Tuesday, gives them an extra day, and then Wednesday, and then we'll get them open. So that's it on that.
Very good. Thank you for preparing. I appreciate you two working together on that because by having your experience and being able to prepare that has been huge for this project.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Next.
Did you want to do anything with the burn ban?
Yeah, if we could, one of the things that has been discussed is obviously the burn ban. And the burn ban was pretty thorough as far as no outside burning whatsoever. We do like the idea of keeping it nimble to where we can activate or deactivate it at our meeting on a weekly basis. One of the things that's been suggested, and I believe it's been discussed with the fire chiefs, is the opportunity for open burning, county to provide that campfires are permitted if contained in a fire ring, and the burning of paper and cardboard is allowed if contained in a burn barrel provided in both instances, that the fires are attended at all times, and the water source is available within 15 feet to extinguish if the fire, if necessary. So that would be an amendment to a complete burn ban. So discussion, or Sheriff, if you'd like to speak to that. I know you talked to the fire chiefs.
Yeah, I've talked to chiefs. We've had many phone calls about the total burn ban with the campground down south, people even at their homes. How is it fair that someone in the city can have it, but just because I live outside the city, can't have it? And explain to them the embers don't care about city limits and things like that, but Allen County, they do it a little different, and that's where this amendment came about. If it's attended, meaning the person has to be within 30 feet of the fire, and there's a water source nearby 15 feet that can use if the fire starts to get out of control. And the fire chiefs are all in agreement with it. I'm in agreement with it. I still don't like the language of fire ring or a barrel, because I think that could get into what is a fire ring, what is a barrel. But I'm in favor of allowing it, like I said, being an attended fire with a water source. I fully support that amendment.
Well, and the whole idea is when the fire risk is high to, when we've got crops in the field, when we've got dry leaves in the woods, you know, that a fire would be, unattended fire would be dangerous in any of those situations. So.
Right, attended, they can start to put it out, they see it starting to get there, at least then they can call us, so we have a faster response to them, if it starts to get out of control. But like today, National Weather Service, they put out from noon till 10 o'clock tonight is a high fire hazard because of dryness. We're having winds up to 30 mile an hour, so if something does it, it's gonna fan, it's gonna go. So, I think having a band especially, is good, but if someone's sitting right there at a campfire at their house or something like that, I understand their complaints with it, so if you would amend it to being attended with a water supply close, I think that's fully supported by myself and the five fire chiefs. Gentlemen?
I don't really, I mean, I agree with what Sheriff's saying, but I don't agree with burning paper or cardboard because that there, if the wind catches it, that there will drift farther than a campfire. If you take cardboard and embers out, it'll go up and go.
Well, I think what that's getting to is, I don't necessarily just, if it's attended, honestly, I don't think we want to go down that road of what is allowed to burn, because a lot of the complaints we also got were people living out that burn their trash. And that's going to have cardboard, but I don't think we should list that. It's just, if you're going to have a burn, you have to be within 30 feet, you have to have water supply.
I don't feel that should be in the list though.
I have to agree with you on that too. I don't like the verbiage of the fire ring and or the burn barrel. I don't like that. It's just, if you're gonna have a fire, you have to stay with it and you have to have water supply to put it out if it starts to be.
I don't like that.
I agree with that.
You want to say then, well, that's why we've got this language here, so it's, if, provide for campfires, that campfires are permitted if contained. Are we going to just limit it to campfires?
No, because then people can't burn their trash out, and I don't know why we have to limit it.
So we want to say what? Campfires or fires that are contained? Because then now you're opening it up to a lot of
Campfires are burn
stuff.
barrels, but don't drop all that verbiage after that.
We're going to say campfires or burning in a burn barrel, provided that the fires are contained and attended.
Attended with a water supply in proximity. Yeah, something to that effect.
Those are the two big things. Somebody's standing there watching it and you got a water source.
Yes.
Those are the two big things.
Because a lot of times where we get calls is they start it and they walk away, go to the house, where like that. Next thing you know, they come out and have their fields on fire. And
Right.
then
I mean, you can't go back and say, well, I'm not sure if you were burning paper or if you're burning cardboard. You know, you can't go after someone.
Having it attended and having a water supply.
Right,
is
those are
my
the two.
big points.
Two big things.
Because those are the two calls we have been getting for the last 2 weeks.
You want to say to provide that campfires and burning in, just say a burn barrel, I mean, for lack of a better,
I don't know if we even need to have a burn barrel, just as long as it's attended and they've got a water source available to put it out.
well, I mean,
It's contained.
but it's got to be contained.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it's gonna leave fire.
Just
So you
say
want to just
contained.
fires that are contained?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
say contained and.
I guess I would really struggle with the definition of contained at that point.
Well, there's got to be some discretion there.
Yeah, it's,
You know, you can't create a policy that addresses every single.
why don't you say that small fires that are contained?
Yeah,
We just
mean,
don't
I-
want small.
I'm trying to differentiate between the guy trying to burn trash in his backyard and the farmer that's trying to burn off a creek bank.
Right, that's the problem with the creek.
That's the
He won't
problem.
have a water supply close.
Creek is gonna be there, he'll have a water
He's gonna have
supply.
to go up there to bring water out.
Bucket,
If he
bucket.
does, but they won't.
A small fire that's contained. But if somebody's burning ditches, that's crazy, especially one that's this dry.
I'm just gonna say that you gotta have somewhere, there's gotta be some common, use your head. I think if you say small fires that are contained,
There's gotta be common
You know,
sense.
it's not gonna be long, people are gonna be burning leaves, they're probably out there burning leaves right now. That's probably not gonna meet the definition of contained.
leaves are not contained unless they're in a contained burn barrel or something. So yeah, that's what you get into on something like this.
Well, and if you start using words like common sense, that's gonna eliminate a lot of people.
He's referring to my officers using common sense on the enforcement.
Yeah, just,
Common sense in the ordinance.
I think, the common sense comes in the enforcement. And I think if you say small fires that are contained, if you go out there and somebody's got a, gigantic leaf fire going or a wood pile or, that's
20
not,
by 20 leaf pile, sorry.
it's not a small fire. It's not,
Framework of safety.
yeah. Small fires that are contained.
Let the wind blow for a strip.
Provided both is.
Are provided.
Fire ring and burn barrel.
That's it.
Are we saying fire ring and burn barrel or not?
I would just say that and that's it.
I
Boom.
think if you put contained, they're gonna burn leaves and things like that, it's okay.
Why don't we say this, that small fires that are contained in a fire ring or burn barrel are permitted?
Yeah, there you go. Boom.
Now, this is just amending the ordinance. This isn't a discussion of whether we're gonna leave the ordinance in effect or not. It's just
Right.
Yes.
Because I think we need to have the discussion of whether the ordinance stays in effect or not. Let's have that.
That's a
after this.
different discussion.
Let's have that after we amend the ordinance.
In a fire ring or burn barrel are permitted if contained.
Because this would dust this off and could put it back in effect again next week. Right. If we pull it off this week, put it back in effect next week.
All right, so here we go.
Okay, you're gonna read her back to us.
Yep. So it's a motion to amend ordinance 2024-20 concerning the current ban on open burning in Adams County to provide that small fires that are contained in a fire ring or burn barrel are permitted hang on. Provided in both instances that the fires are attended at all times and a water source is available within 15 feet to extinguish the fire if necessary.
Very good.
I'll make a motion to support that.
Second.
I'll vote in favor of that also.
All right.
Thanks for doing that, Mark. I
Yep.
think that addresses a lot of the concerns that have come back to us,
Think so.
back to the sheriff, and still puts the safety concern of the fire chiefs at the front of the.
All right, so we'll show that ordinance is amended and I'm going to print a copy of this, the exact wording so that the press can communicate that to the public. And see, that shows that the democracy works. You changed the legislation right here and made it work. All right.
Do we have a discussion now whether the ordinance stays in place for another week? Is that a fair discussion?
By amending it, it stays in effect. Now, next week, you could repeal it. That's up to you guys
It is designed to stay in effect until.
until it's repealed.
Okay, I guess I would like to have it on the agenda every week that we consider repealing that ordinance.
Yep.
Anytime we've got a restriction, I think anytime we've got a restriction on people's freedoms, rights in place, we need to look at that every week.
No, I agree.
I don't like that. I don't like us doing that. I'm concerned that we continue to take people's freedoms and rights away. It needs to be an extraordinary situation, in my opinion, that we would do that. I think it's difficult to explain why I can do it in the town of Monroe and you can't do it outside the town of Monroe. I think that's a difficult discussion. That none of the cities and towns, to my knowledge, have put a burn ban in place. I think when the fire chiefs are telling us we need to do it in the county, but they don't do it in their own towns, that's a difficult discussion for me. So I think I just think I'll go with it for another week. It has been dry again.
I think what you can do is put on the agenda then just keep it on the agenda as a standing item, and you can just put it as consideration. You can put it under county attorney.
Consideration of continuing burn ban.
Put it under
ordinance
county
or
attorney,
something.
consideration of continuation or repeal of burn ban. And that way each week,
I'd like to force us to talk about it every
Yep.
week.
all right.
Take it. All right, Mark, what else do you have?
I think that's it.
Shannon? Oh, you brought reinforcements today.
Mark, did you have that potential contract with American Structure Point for us to look at yet?
I know Clayton worked on that.
He did work on it, and I think it's close,
Yeah.
but it may be ready by next week.
I think
We're just
so.
talking about payment terms, and I've got some payment terms language that I
Okay.
just forwarded to Clayton for his review. So hopefully we'll have that for consideration maybe next week.
I'll send him an email
Okay.
about that next week.
I will.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
How's Jody?
Thank you.
Good.
So just a couple things for you guys. Last week I sent you the information that Jody and I have been working on for 2025. So today I am bringing the insurance rates for 2025 employee premiums. I'm bringing our network options for 25, and then I'm also bringing our ancillary benefit carriers for your approval for 2025. So my recommendation, based on the information that Jody gave us, is that we maintain coverage for dental and vision with Delta Dental and Delta Vision, and then we maintain coverage for life insurance with Lincoln Financial. And then on employee premiums and network options, my recommendation is that we maintain employee premiums for 25, and then we match the increase that Delta Dental is passing on to us for 25, and then we offer Three Rivers and Parkview in 2025 in terms of networks.
Okay. Steve, any thoughts on that, either of you?
Well, I guess I'm a little concerned with us beginning to participate in the cost of the Delta Dental plan, since we've not done that before. We've not paid anything before. It's been a benefit we've offered. We buy it at a group rate, or at least we think we do, but we pass the full cost of that on to the employee for both dental and vision. I think once we start to participate in that, I don't know where we draw the line at and say, well, we're not going to pick that up anymore. I'm not sure I'm ready to go down that road yet for the sharing of the dental expense. It's a big expense. I know it is.
Well, part of the justification was some of the comps that you did with other counties, is that correct?
Yep. But the insurance rates that I sent you guys on Friday does not have any subsidized in it for dental insurance. It's all whatever Delta charges us is what we charge the employee.
Right.
So there's no subsidized there.
Okay. I thought you said match the increase with Delta Dental. Did I misinterpret that comment?
Yes, so we just match, as in you guys match what they are increasing, and then we then pass that on to the employee. I'm sorry if I didn't explain that correctly.
Okay, so the employee will continue to pay the full amount of Delta Dental.
Correct.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
So are you looking for an approval on all these rates today?
Yes, I need approval on those rates and then our network options for 2025 and our ancillary benefit carriers, which is Delta and Lincoln.
So let me get this straight, because we're not paying their premium.
Yeah.
We're just passing that premium on to them.
I'm good with all that. Everything that you've
I'll make the motion.
recommended. I'll second.
Okay. Vote in favor of that also. Thanks for the research that you did.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you send those rates so I can put them in the minutes?
Just as a gut check, I went out on my own to see if I went out on my own as a senior and I shopped Delta Dental. I think Delta Dental especially is what I looked at, and it's similar. I couldn't save myself any money by buying it personally, so.
I think it's interesting that the rates for employee and spouse are about double what employee and children. Because spouses are more expensive. I mean, I've said that for years, but.
Yeah, and Jody can correct me if I'm wrong, but our rates with any of the ancillary benefit carriers are based on our experience. So however many claims we have, however much we actually use the plan is directly reflected in by what the employees have to pay for it, so.
Very good.
Okay, so the only other thing that we were going to talk about today is Jody brought the preliminary stop loss renewal information to you guys for 2025, just so we can start.
Can
that
I bring up
conversation.
one more thing? And just to note that we have eliminated Lutheran Preferred from the coverages that we're offering. So is everybody aware of that, or you've notified people?
So I have not notified anybody until I got your approval today, but I have a letter that I've written up that Jody and Mark and Clayton have all reviewed and are good with, that I'm going to send out to employees pending this meeting right here.
Thank you.
Just for clarification, we still have a Lutheran-based network in the TRP program, so we're not completely eliminating Lutheran. We're just eliminating a lower discount level of their platform. Lutheran will still be an option for people to pick through the Three Rivers Preferred Option Network. And we only had, I think, 10 individuals at last count that were on that Lutheran.
So even though it'll be a disruption, it won't be a disruption in service, it'll be a disruption in cost to the employee. Or to us.
It will improve the discounts you're getting because TRP gives us better discounts than the Lutheran Preferred.
But to the individual employee.
They should still have access to be able to decide whether the Three Rivers Preferred Network is their best fit or the Signature Care Partner.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're not leaving anybody without income.
Access to care. Okay, like Shannon mentioned, we have preliminary stop loss numbers. These are not firm and final yet. Our incumbent carrier was wanting experience through October. We're still trying to push them to agree to get us firm and final with the September their experience that they're reviewing currently. But I did want to get in front of you with the current state so you know where we are and know from a timing perspective when we might be able to lock in our stop loss activity. There are really three major sections here, and then in the back is our disclosures. Section 1 gives us an executive summary of where we are year to date, and we'll look at the actual claims experience in Section 2. But we are performing at 95.5% of your expected claims costs. So when we sat down with renewal last year, there was an expected claims factor, and we're running pretty well even with that. We're net difference to the positive is $61,941. September claims were high. They were 123% of expected. So again, I just want to reiterate that these are preliminary and not firm and final yet. If we look at the renewal analysis then in the midsection on that page, you'll see the annual administrative premium from Allied, and we'll look at the breakdown in subsequent sections, is representing a 2% change in their cost. Annual stop loss premium with our current reinsurance carrier, again, these are preliminary, right now is looking at 2.4%, making our total fixed cost change from 2024 to 25, 2.3%, which would represent a $19,449 change. Our actual claims factor, where we sit today, is looking at a rate hold or a claims activity hold based upon preliminary. Maximum is looking at a 1.1% decrease. They have eliminated one of our specific lasered individuals, and we'll again look at that. So our total expected cost based upon the preliminary numbers, our current was set at $2,664,775. The renewal currently is at $2,684,224, which would represent the $19,449 change or 0.7% renewal increase. Maximum actually a small decrease by $10,551. Should these numbers remain the same. Any questions on the executive summary? I just have a few pieces to highlight then in the supporting documentation here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the way you present that.
Good. Section 2, then again, is our claims experience. This is through September. Again, if we look at plan year to date, which is in your third column there, we're running on an average, if we annualize where we're at for the year, of $1,318,135. And annualize that, we would be coming in at $10,695 on the claims per employee per year. They are going towards our aggregate contract, which really is about 0.5% higher than where we ended the year last year for the full year at 10,640. So we're running right on track with where we were relative to the stop loss contract in 2023. Large claimants, we have 5 individuals who have hit the individual stop loss level, and the stop loss carrier so far has reimbursed for $74,807 of claims activity on a stop loss basis. Next page, one item I want to point out here, this is your total cost all in, which would include the claims towards your aggregate contract that we just talked about, all of your fixed costs, and then any additional liability as a result of the individuals on a hire specific from last year. Looking at the far right, for 9 months through 2024, we're at $2,177,076. Again, if we were to annualize that, our performance for the remaining several months of the year ended at that same level. To annualize that, we would end the year at $17,664, which is the column far right bottom, which is up just 2% from where we ended the year last year at $17,377. We are still seeing medical trend running about 7-8%, and pharmacy trend running even a little higher than that. So we beat that.
As far as increases, you mean?
As far as what, if somebody had a claim in 2024, they would expect that to be 10% higher on average in 2025. So we're still improving and beating those claim numbers that we see in most situations. Any questions on the experience pages before I flip into the stop loss numbers?
On the RX claims, I noticed they're down. Is that down 13%? Is that what, am I seeing that correctly?
So keep in mind, this is 9 months compared to a full 12.
Okay,
Steve, so if I annualize that number, we are still down a little bit, 826,000 if I kept the same place.
okay.
Keep in mind, we did implement the Prudent RX this
Right.
prior year.
That's what I was trying to figure
Yep,
out, is
yep.
whether we're seeing a benefit
Yeah,
from
we are
that.
seeing some advantages and some savings there. We've had a couple that have fallen off the plan that are no longer on the plan, but
Okay.
pharmacy is one of the strategies we still want to look at
Okay.
early in 2025 for potential additional savings as we move forward
Okay.
to the next contract year. Great question. Anything else on that page? Let's flip to section 3, which is our stop loss section. Again, these are preliminary numbers. Our incumbents wanting through October. The other competitive carrier we have is reviewing September now and potentially confirm up with September, which we are leveraging with Ardellis to try to get them to commit as well. You can see the different carriers that we've approached, and they're coming back relative to not being able to compete in most situations with our current stop loss contract. We did absolutely market multiple carriers to make sure we were putting you in the best position for your stop loss contract. Here is the breakdown on the Allied fixed fee increase. It's basically in your medical administration currently is $12.40. And they are asking for a 62-cent change, making that $13.02 for 2025. Everything else is remaining the same, but I would point out if you look at the network access fees, going down to the Lutheran Preferred, which we just approved to remove, is at $6.25. So that fee will go down a fraction depending on whether the people access the Three Rivers at $6 and the Signature Care at $5.25. So we will make up some of that 62 cents in just the reallocation of those 10 people.
I'm surprised that Signature Care is lower than Three Rivers.
Yes. Three Rivers is giving us the biggest discount in claims, however, based upon the Medicare methods that they use in giving us our claims.
But it's just the access fee is low.
Yeah, so the access fee, they're charging us a little bit more to access that lower savings, better savings opportunity. Any questions on the administration?
Help me understand our relationship with Allied and
Yeah.
how difficult we don't typically shop that TPA relationship, correct?
We have not typically shopped it, Steve. The service that we're receiving has really been at a level where I feel that both Shannon and I are comfortable with where it is. They are typically competitive with what else is out there in the market.
Okay.
Not saying we can't, we can
Yeah.
absolutely, but we've not.
As long as you understand that I think we would be willing to do that.
Yes,
But I guess I'm going to trust your judgment,
Yes.
Shannon's judgment. If you tell me the service is good and the cost is competitive, that's all I want to know.
I've seen administrative fees come, in fact, I just looked for a different client just this last week, and the administrative fee from a very well-known third-party administrator, which is what Allied does for us, was $29 per employee per
Okay.
month.
Okay.
So I just feel that where we're at, the length of time you've been with them is of value to us and the cost. That said, now if service becomes a complaint or
Yeah,
an issue,
that's
that's a
like I said,
whole
those are
different
the, I
discussion.
want to know we're paying
Yep.
competitive price
Yep.
and we're getting great service.
You got
If those two things are
You
there,
got it.
we don't have to shop it just because we want to shop it.
Right, and always, we're in tune with what the market is. USI, we're agnostic, we don't care what third party, we don't care what reinsurance, we work for you, right? So as long as we're not seeing service issues or concerns, I feel we're with the quality third-party administration
Okay,
team
good.
for what they provide
And
to
so
us.
are we hearing good things back from our employees as far as being able to get claims processed?
I think that insurance as a whole is not something that most employees have a good understanding of, which is something that we've been talking a lot about working on in the next couple years. But as a general statement, once I hear somebody say, I have this issue, I'm able to step in, work with Jody, work with Allied, and we end up getting it resolved. It just sometimes takes a little bit more attention than normal.
Generally, they're satisfied with
I think
it.
generally, so, I mean, if you ask people who have issues, they're gonna say, no, it sucks, right? But, as a general statement, I think so.
Thank you.
Let's flip then to the stop loss numbers. You'll see from left to right, we have our current with Ardellis being our stop loss carrier. Then we have our, again, initial renewal waiting on firm and final. And then another reinsurance carrier that was most competitive, which is Cirrus Point, who's provided us with an alternate to consider for stop loss. If I look at a couple of things, starting in the bold blue between current and initial renewal, they've included the same higher specific or lasers is what they're referred to on individuals that were in the contract last year, with the exception that the ones dropped off the plan, so that's no longer a concern. The Cirrus Point has yet to clear large claimants, so we don't know what, if any, lasers or higher specific levels they would be putting on any of the individuals compared to where we are current, so that's a big differentiator. The other thing I want to mention is our current stop loss does include a protection feature for you where they can't add any lasers to our renewal other than what exists now. That feature is not included on the Cirrus Point stop loss that we have set together as an alternative. We also have a rate cap on our current contract, which means if a high claim showed up here and they really otherwise would have put a higher specific, they can't just dump $1 million into our premium. The cap that they could increase the premium to offset that is at 40%, and that's not included in the Cirrus Point as well. So there's some added protective features in our renewal that I think are important to consider once we get firm and final and make an evaluation and recommendation. Looking at fixed cost, again, you can see starting with the minor change in the administration, and then our stop loss premium going up 2.4% from the prior year, annualized $765,862, with the renewal $784,090, and the other carrier is actually higher. So again, unless they would come back with a different position on our high claimants lasers, probably the recommendation is going to be to maintain our stop loss with the current carrier. Again, looking at total annual fixed cost, today's at $827,923. With your renewal, it's $847,372. And the alternate is at $875,390. The other option would be to go to a higher specific level and change our funding from $55,000 to $75,000, which is a pretty significant bump, which really you would only need 3 individuals to hit that to make that a value for the plan. So I really feel, again, we're looking at the first 2 columns as the prospective decision for 2025 stop loss. If I look at claims liability, again, currently they've pegged our renewal staying the same. That's where the other stop loss with Cirrus Point is down a little bit. But our expected claims today is $1,836,000. Same with renewal. Same thing, the Cirrus Point is a little higher on the expected at $1,948,000. So their factors are a little higher. But again, the reason the maximum is showing lower is because they've not cleared large claimants yet. In our current, you see towards the claims liability section, you've got several lines: expected claims, max claims, and then additional laser liability, which is your funding potential exposure for those higher claim lasered individuals, and what difference your $55,000 is that could potentially be funded by the plan, not going towards our contract. So adding that back in, total max, again, is $3,548,457, worst case scenario, which will be 0.3% small reduction, expected 0.7% small increase. Again, Cirrus has to clear large claimants, so we don't know what added laser liability exposure we have to add to their column. A lot of numbers, I know. Questions relative to what you're seeing?
Well, we don't like to look at those max.
I know, we're under maximum this year, so let's keep it big. So again, we are trying to leverage our current stop loss to give us firm and final was September. If I accomplish that, I'll be back soon with that firm and final. If I don't, we're gonna need October to finish, and then give us a week to 10 days for those reports to be pulled and submitted, and then it'd be about mid-November. Which you have to wait till October.
Good work, Julie.
But as of
Thank you.
right now, knock on wood, based on what has been reviewed so far. But if I would rush my handshake.
All right, what else do you need from us today?
I have a couple other things unrelated, but nothing else with Jody.
Thank you, Jody.
You betcha.
So you've been putting up with Shannon okay? She hasn't been driving you nuts?
Yeah, it goes by days, Stan. Some days are better than others.
Okay.
No, we do a great job working and collaborating together.
That's how it is with us too.
Yeah, good. Glad to hear it.
Day by day.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
So I just have a couple other things for you guys. So I have an employee who has FMLA currently for a specific situation that's going on, and they are getting to the point where they're at the end of their PTO and they still need to utilize that FMLA. So I just wanted to get permission to apply the 5-year pay to them. And it would be, what's the word, incremental? What's the word, not continuous.
At need.
Yeah, at need, like that. It would be at need. It wouldn't be continuous. So she just finished her PTO last week. So we're just not getting.
Is that difficult to track when they do it that way?
No, I have a spreadsheet that I maintain next to the FMLA information, and then Bree and I put in a pay code into AOD when we built the system, so we know exactly who got it, when they got it, and because there's a special designation on their time card when I apply it to their time card.
Are there any peculiarities with this request? There's not it's not a new employee or, okay.
Nope, the
So
policy
this is,
is completely separate
Okay.
from, yeah.
so there's no policy exception here. It's just that you have to come and request every time for that.
Yes, yes. The
2
current-
weeks every 5 years or whatever that is.
Yes, the current policy applies to them. They've been here for longer than a year of continuous service. They do have credible FMLA, and then they're now to the point where they've used all of their available time off. So,
All right,
Motion approved.
okay, very good.
okay. The other two things I have is I have 2 jobs that I would like to recruit for. So Luann in the assessor's office, she is retiring as of November 1st. So.
Denied.
So I made a boo-boo and I already started recruiting for the position last week, but this is my official approval, if that's okay with you guys. So they are intending on moving an employee in the office into that position, and she's been training with Luann for, I think, like 6 or 9 months. And then we're gonna backfill that employee. So Mary feels pretty comfortable that they're covered. We just have to find somebody, like I said, to backfill the employee who's moving.
How long has Luann been an employee?
25 years?
35 or 27, I don't remember either stuff.
It's been a long time.
She has probably got the best perspective on work that goes on in that office. Has been an excellent.
Yes, absolutely.
Motion to approve advertising for that position.
Okay. And then the other one is I also received Bree's resignation yesterday from her position in the auditor's office. So I would like to start the process of recruiting for her position as well. And then her and I are going to meet, and we're going to talk about a couple things with Tony when he gets back next week about how we want to recruit for it, and a couple other things. So I'm going to bring that to you guys once I have more information, but I at least wanted to get it out there so we can start that process and hopefully get somebody in here to train with her before she leaves.
Motion approved.
So we can't deny that one. You can't quit, you're fine. Well, I'm certainly sorry to hear that. depended on you. I've depended on you for years, so appreciate all the work that you've done.
So that's all I have. We good? Okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else, any, reports, any other discussion for today? Okay, anything from the general public? Okay,
Motion to adjourn.
all right. Meeting adjourned.